So here we are in New Braj, final day of Kartik, final evening program.
We have completed our Kartik with no obstacles. Everything has gone wonderfully. You go back to your homes.
No, he does that the next day.
Okay. When he says goodbye.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's right. So, but you know, this final day of Kartik is also a wonderful opportunity to hear the glories of great pure Vaishnavas, our acharyas. And on this particular day is the day of the disappearance of Srila Nityalila Pravishtom Vishnupad Paramahansa Ashtatarasata Sri Srila Bhakti Pramoda Purī Gosvāmī Maharaj. We also have the opportunity before Kartik. About 2 weeks before Kartik is his appearance day. And we read Srila Bhaktivedanta Bharati Maharaj's Katha on that day. And so there's more also, but I want to read some more nectar about him. And also this is the concluding day of our attempt to go on Braj Mandala Parikrama by our minds and by our Shravan Kirtan. But I don't consider it the end, because we barely got started. There's so much more to complete in our Parikrama book. So I intend to continue, not exclusively on that topic, but because we missed some major places, Varshana and Yavat. We did a little bit of Govardhan, but not really the whole Parikrama. Of course, we celebrated Govardhan Puja, Anakut, and heard lots of nectar, but there's way more nectar about Govardhan. As I told one day, from Gopal Champu, from Ananda Vrindavan Champu. So really, I think we've only started to hear the nectar. I think. What do you think?
Raga Samhita also has some specialities.
It does. That's true. Yeah.
Srimad Bhagavatam, Vishwanath Chakravarti.
Yeah. The direct commentaries of Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur on very many important chapters. We've barely even touched Ras Leela. And Srila Gurudev has an entire book, Ras Panchadhyay. And there's very many other commentaries also that other groups I've explained before. Other Vaishnava groups have been doing the English translations of the commentaries of nearly a dozen different acharyas on the entire Srimad Bhagavatam, and particularly on Ras Panchadhyay. They by request, they completed that. So I want to continue churning nectar until this body drops, wherever it may drop. I want to continue to do that every single day to whoever shows up. And I'm very happy that we had such an enlivening group of devotees here in New Braj who participated all month long in the various feast days and disappearance days, appearance days, all of the festivities that we tried to observe here as best we could. And I'm so happy that my dear godbrother and sannyasi brother came during this time and also enlivened everyone, Sripad Bhaktivedanta Vaikanis Maharaj. And I'm so thankful to this community, especially the senior devotees. I revere so much, and I'm able to associate with them and enliven myself by their association. So I just want to continue, because after all, there ain't nothing else to do. Krishna has corralled us, and now our only business is hearing, chanting, and studying, and relishing and tasting what the previous acharyas have given us. Even if we just only spent the rest of our life reading Srila Prabhupada's Srimad Bhagavatam, or if we could even add to that the Chaitanya Charitamrita, just that alone, it will take years. It will take years, you know. So we're very fortunate. When we were giving thanks the other day, we really didn't touch upon the real things that we should be thankful for. Everything was expressed by the devotees mostly on the material level. Oh, I'm so happy I have my family and my friends and my community and this and that. But what is real gratitude? What is the topic of real gratitude? What should we actually thank Krishna for? Not just, oh, I thank such and such, but we're not even telling who we're thanking. Very few of the devotees who spoke the other night said, I thank Krishna for this. They just said, oh, I'm thankful for this, I'm thankful for that. But who are we thankful to? Krishna. Because Krishna is our life. Krishna is our soul. Remember that song? Lord Nityananda song? Krishna Mata, Krishna Pita, Krishna Dana Pran. When will we come to that in our lives? That we're really understanding the depth of our relationship with Krishna. Our whole life is Krishna. He gave us this human body. He gave us this birth. He gave us sadhu sangha. Did he not? Did anybody else arrange that for us? Even the demigods? No. Krishna. As the Paramatma in the heart, he's with us always. We have to come off of the superficial level and come onto the level of reality. That comes only through transcendental knowledge that is realized and imparted into the heart by the pure devotees. Then we have to cultivate that our whole life and next life until we reach perfection. That is our only duty. Our only duty. Does Krishna say that we have any other duty to perform? In the Bhagavad Gita, when he came to this planet and he spoke Bhagavad Gita 5,000 years ago, did he encourage us to engage in all other types of duties other than absolute surrender to him? Can anyone show me a verse in all of the 700 verses that Krishna spoke that we should preoccupy our lives with something other than this? No. There are relative duties to be performed, no doubt. Krishna also introduced Varnashram Dharma for the upliftment of humanity. We also observe that because our Vaishnavacharyas have given that to us. They've also told us we should follow Varnashram, Daivi Varnashram. But those are not our real duties, are they? Are they our real duties? Just that we're a brahmachari, or we're a householder, or we're a sannyasi? Any of those? Are those our real duties of our Atma? Is that our Atma Dharma? No. There's only one Atma Dharma. Where did Krishna announce to all future jivas? Where in the Bhagavad Gita did he announce what is our Atma Dharma forever and ever?
1865.
Thank you. Please tell us.
I'm not sure if I'm getting the right one. Mama Vaishati Satyante Pratijani Piyasi. Always think of me, become my devotee, worship me, offer your homage unto me, Unless you will come to me, I promise you this, because you will not leave you from me.
That's right. But there's one more verse right next to it, which was the platform upon which we can follow that verse that you just quoted. Gurudev said, the fruits, that verse is the fruits of following the other shloka. And what is that other shloka? Yeah, say it.
Aham
Tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayami masichaha.
And meaning?
Surrender unto me, and I will reward you accordingly. I don't remember.
Is it abandon
Abandon
all varieties of religion?
Yes.
Or nothing?
Well, let's take each line. Sarva dharman parityajya. What does parityajya mean? You know? Premai? Parityajya. Huh? It means give up. Parityajya. Just give up. Abandon. Prabhupada uses the term abandon. Now, what to abandon? Sarva dharman parityajya.
All kinds of dharma.
All varieties of religion?
All other varieties of dharma. Here the word religion is used in the translation, but it's not just whether you're a Christian or a Buddhist or this or that. No, it has to do with all of our dharmas in this world, which are called temporary dharmas, naimitic dharmas. So Krishna is proclaiming there, sarva dharman parityajya. Sarva means all, every single last one of these temporary dharmas, you give them up. And in its place, what? What's the next line? Mam ekam what? Yes, what does that mean? Mam ekam. You know what ekam means?
I don't remember my
In Hindi,
one.
it means one. And it means exclusively to only to me. Only to me. No one else. Mam ekam sharanam braja. Just surrender exclusively to me. We have to understand that very, very deeply. What does that mean? What does it mean to surrender exclusively only to Krishna and not to any other dharma? Doesn't mean we cannot perform those dharmas. We will have to do some dharmas in this world. But we have to become very clear, what does it mean to actually follow Krishna's instruction? To exclusively surrender to him. Let me hear from the devotees. What it means.
Six limbs of Sharanagati.
Huh?
The 6 limbs of Sharanagati.
6 limbs of Sharanagati. What are they?
To accept everything that's favorable for the development of Krishna.
As he's telling these limbs, we should all be thinking, am I doing that? Or am I not doing it? Number 1.
To accept everything that's favorable for the development of Krishna Prem. 2, to reject everything that's unfavorable for the development of Krishna.
Actually, it's not stated for the development of Krishna Prem. It's stated for bhakti, for the practices of bhakti, which ultimately will lead us to Krishna Prem. But preliminary, Jai Shri Gurudev Gandharvika, Shri Radha Govinda Jai. Accept everything favorable for bhakti. And ultimately, bhakti means pure bhakti, right? Uttama bhakti. This is our program. We want to become pure bhaktas, not mixed, pure. So we will have to refer always to the definition verse by Rupa Gosvāmī. What is pure bhakti, uttama bhakti? So surrender First limb, to accept everything favorable for that. And then the second limb,
to everything unfavorable for that.
right? To reject everything that is not favorable for that. Then, third limb,
To accept Krishna as our only maintainer.
protector
provider.
first.
Protector.
Rakshishyatiti Vishvasa. Protector, Raksha. To accept Krishna as my only protector. Only. That means also that we are not protectors, thinking that we are protecting such and such. No. Krishna is the only protector. Who will arrange when we reach our final moments in this body? Who is going to arrange for where we will go? Can our husband, our wife, our mother, father, friends, children, relatives, can any of them help us at that time? Not one iota. They cannot help us one iota. Once the life heirs have left the body, Atma is gone, they cannot help at all. Yes, there are some Shraddha ceremony in the Vedas. Something can be done from a distance, that if the person has fallen into hell, do some Shraddha ceremony, it will help. But actually, only Krishna is doing that. Even if that were done, that's Krishna doing it. He's arranging for those persons to do that. He's arranged that. Krishna has arranged everything. We should try to always see Krishna's hand is in everything at every single moment. This is how the pure devotees perceive this world. You see the video of Srila Prabhupada lying on his bed in Vrindavan. It was the final recording of his voice speaking. He was commenting on Śrīmad Bhagavatam.
No one is independent, everyone is servant. Everything is acting and moving by the desire and will of Krishna. His consciousness is Krishna consciousness.
Yes. Say that one more time.
A little up.
No one is independent, everyone is servant. Everyone is acting and moving by the desire and will of Krishna. His consciousness, this understanding is Krishna consciousness.
I like how you can remember all these
I wish I could apply
quotations.
them.
Remembering is the first step. Yeah. You probably wrote it down in your notebook too, right?
This notebook. It's
Okay. So, you know, our whole life as devotees is meant for constant endeavor, isn't it? Srila Gurudev said about himself, I have never taken off in my whole life. Taken off means like gone on vacation or this or that. No. No. The devotees have some understanding that my life is very short. My life is very precarious. That very classic song of all time, Bhajaho Re Mana Shri Nanda Nandana Abhaya Charana Ravindare. That song expresses these moods. What does it say? Kamala Dala Jala Jivana Talamala Vajahun Haripada Nitide. That this life is just like a drop of water on a lotus leaf. And it is tilting. Prabhupada used that word in his own spoken translation of the song. That this drop of water is perched on a lotus leaf and it is tilting. And at any moment it can roll off that lotus leaf. This is the poetic example given by Govindadas, the author of this song, poet Govindadas. Kamala dala jala, jivana tala mala. This life is just like a drop of water tilting on a lotus leaf. Any moment it can fall off. Bhajahun hari pada nitire. Therefore, my dear mind, just worship Hari. Okay. So we should apply. We should not slacken our efforts. Gurudev would always say that at the end of Kartik, he would say, so now we have completed this month. Now you should all continue. You should continue with the same earnest striving and endeavor. It's not now, okay, now I can shut it off and now I can go back to my ordinary existence. That's not what Kartik is for. You know? Even the chanting of these prayers that are done with the whole congregation during Kartik month, of the Damodarastakam and the other two, Namami Nandanandana and Radhakripa Kataksha Stavaraj. Gurudev says you should continue these all year long. And then add more. And add more stavas and stutis, ashtakams. Really, the Kartik month is meant for a revolutionary change. But these revolutionary changes should be our normal lifestyle, that we are ready to adjust. I'm going to say again what I've repeated many times. Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj, when he would express, you can read it in his books, when he's talking about what is the actual meaning of religion. What is the actual meaning of this word religion or dharma? And then he says, proper adjustment. What does it mean? Proper adjustment. Can anybody explain what that means?
That we are the ones that have to work on ourselves. It's not the environment, it's not our position, our situation, but it's our consciousness. We have to work on ourselves. I believe.
No, but I mean, what is the adjustment that is being made? What does it mean, adjust?
Time.
Just
Time, please.
Rangalata?
Srimad Bhagavatam says blame yourself and no one else. That's the basic adjustment to whatever's happening.
That's still very...
And that Krishna is in charge of everything.
Well, yeah. I mean, we're talking about Sharanagati, surrender, and what you're telling is that's true. But let's get more specific here. What does it mean? Constant adjustment and proper adjustment.
In time, place.
What is being adjusted? And what is the process of adjusting? Yeah.
According to time, place, and circumstance, there's not exploitation, there's not artificial renunciation, there's dedication.
Okay. All right, I'm going to add another statement of his to give more specific. When he says proper adjustment, constant adjustment, then the next sentence he says constant elimination and acceptance. Then he expresses further. Elimination of that which is no longer relevant, helpful, and acceptance of that which will now be adapted by us as our duties. When we were studying, prior to Kartik, we were studying the commentary of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur in these 12 different principles, positive and negative, from Upadeshamrita. There was quite a in-depth discussion there about Dharma. and how the living entities, by Krishna's arrangement in the universe, all are going on their level of moving forward. Beginning from even the lowest species of life, there is a way in which the Supreme Lord has arranged the material nature for the advancement of the jivas from one species to the next and so forth, going up higher, higher. And then Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, if you remember, in the beginning chapters of Jaiva Dharma, he explains about 5 levels of consciousness of the living entities. And can you remember those? No, it's different.
Stunted?
Stunted, that's the first one.
Ouch.
Stunted consciousness. And what does that refer to?
Like trees or...
Yes, the living entities in the lower species of life are, their consciousness, although they're jivas, but their covering is thicker and heavier. So they're in a condition stunted. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna also refers to this, that the consciousness is covered like the embryo in the womb, in that most stunted state. Then he also gives the example of fire, which is covered by smoke, and like that. So what's the next one after stunted?
Well, it refers to the animals, I believe, but I don't know what it's called.
Yeah, maybe budding. I would like to find that reference and to read that, and also the Sanskrit terms, because I haven't committed that to my memory. Then coming into the human form, it's the 3rd level.
Is it moral?
It's another category.
Yeah, we'll have to look this up. So in the human form, we know that there are also civilized and uncivilized. And according to the position of the jivas, according to their karma, they're taking birth in this way, and their consciousness becomes somewhat awakened. So just like a flower, when the flower begins to bud, and then there's a stage in which that bud begins to open. And finally, there's the stage where that bud completely flowers with all the fragrance and everything else. So you can't see it so much in the bud. And when it begins to open, even then you can't really see it. But when it's fully opened, that means pure consciousness. In the human body, when someone becomes a pure devotee, then their consciousness becomes fully opened. So proper adjustment means that in each stage of the human form, there is a level that is reached by the jivas, and according to their level and their development of consciousness, they have corresponding duties. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur explains that in that level, by performing those duties that are meant for that level, then that is how they will advance to the next level. But they also have to be ready to let go of those duties that pertain to that level and now adopt the duties of the next level. And if they don't do so, they remain behind. It works adversely. Therefore, one has to strive and move forward. So the proper adjustment, as Srila Sridhar Maharaj says, is constantly going on. And what is happening? He says constant elimination and acceptance. Then he repeated that. Elimination and acceptance. Elimination and acceptance. This is how we advance. That's very clearly explained in various places in the 11th canto. of the Bhagavatam, very nicely explained there. So,
does he also say in that giving up old conceptions? And
yes,
developing
conceptions
new
as well,
conceptions?
of course, old conceptions. Because what we do is according to our conception, you know. But when our consciousness, when our knowledge, when our realization, when everything improves and moves forward, then we have to be ready to embrace that. And therefore everyone is advancing according to the position that they're in currently, if they follow the proper instructions of Guru, Sadhu and Shastra for their level, then they will advance. But they have to be willing to let go of the previous. That's why when Gurudev came, he spoke about this to the general devotees, because there are quite a few senior devotees. And he was expressing this, that you have to come to the Madhyam level. You cannot remain Kanishta forever, Gurudev would say. You know, you cannot. You cannot remain Kanishta forever. You have to advance. So, without sadhu sangha, it's difficult for the jivas to do that. But there will come a stage, because as one approaches the Madhyam stage, then one knowledge becomes more clear, and one can understand what my duties are. And one can transfer from the relative duties, the naimitic dharmas, and actually let go of that. As Krishna says, give it up. Only surrender to me. Pure bhakti. Only surrender to me. This is Krishna's ultimate blessing for the jivas. He's giving his complete sanction that everything else is of very little importance in comparison to this. And if you do this, Krishna also says in that very same verse what he does from his side. He says, Arjuna, sarvadharman parityaja, mamekam sharanam braja, aham tvam. What's the meaning? What does aham mean? It's a very important word, aham. I. Aham. This is a very important word. Aham tvam. And tvam means you. I to you, sarva papebhyo moksha ishyami. I will free you, moksha. I will liberate you from sarva papebhyo. All sinful activities. All sinful reactions. Sarva pap means all sins. Because Arjuna, in the beginning of the Gita, he put forward his argument to Krishna why he shouldn't fight, because it would be sinful. He'll commit sins. It's very immoral and sinful to kill your guru, your superior, and other close relatives and so forth. Arjuna was very, very concerned about that, to the extent that he was willing to risk his entire reputation and become completely scorned and ridiculed by fleeing from the battlefield. Krishna didn't want that. That's not what Krishna wanted. So Arjuna came under that kind of an illusion of bodily attachment to relatives and so forth, without understanding that now his real duty is to simply surrender to the Supreme Absolute Lord, who wants this battle to take place for his purposes. And what are his purposes? To establish Dharma in this world for the benefit of all living entities, and to decrease the demoniac civilization, the demoniac population of armies and kings that are demons on the surface of the earth. And that's why he wanted this battle to take place. And he himself was personally there on the battlefield. But Arjuna was meant to be his instrument. And he told Arjuna, do not think that you are doing this. I have already arranged for all these soldiers to be killed. And he proved it by showing the universal form. And then Arjuna could certainly see, okay, death I am. Aham mrityu sa haras chaham. Aham, there's the word aham again. I am death personified. That is Krishna. Prabhupada would often say this in lectures. Persons can be atheists, not believe there's any God. I don't see God. Where is God? Can you show me God? And then, okay, here's death. So for you, this is God. You will believe that there's a God when death comes. You see.
Srila Maharaj talks a lot about the importance of faith. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Well, that's a very general. What do you mean? Talk a little bit about the importance of faith.
Yes,
You have to.
tying into all the studied and all that, tying into all that. Because you have to have faith to really make any progress.
Yes. Yes. Everything is based on Shraddha. Bhakti cannot begin without Shraddha. But the question is, how strong is your faith? If your faith is not developed properly and your faith is very weak, then you will deviate in this way and that way. So many different ways you will not follow the actual instructions if your faith is not strong. So why are we living in the community of devotees? To increase our faith by the activities of bhakti. But we have to endeavor. We can't just glide along by everybody else's endeavor. No, each and every devotee has to perform the activities of bhakti. They have to chant the holy names of Krishna, especially. They have to hear, they have to come to classes, and they have to perform shravanam, hearing, kirtanam, chanting, smaranam, remembering Krishna. Who's going to do that for you? Can somebody else remember Krishna for you? Huh?
How is it defined, the word Braja, in that second line of the section?
Yeah, I can look. Because Vraja, remember when we were studying in the Parikrama book, what is the meaning of the word Vraja?
Always moving, wasn't that the first?
Always moving around. So it has to do with movement. And Vraja, I'll see how the synonym is mentioned. Huh?
I remember reading, it was either I was reading recently or in one of the classes that the word Vraja there maybe also had some sort of hidden allusion to Krishna and Braj. Was that?
Well, that can be there. That can be there. But Krishna's not saying that as a direct statement. Yes, he's using the term Braja. I'll give you another example of that, which Srila Sridhar Maharaj actually pointed out in his commentary. Tesham satati yuktanam. This verse of the 4 nutshell verses of the whole Bhagavad Gita, right? The 4 verses. In there is the verse, Tesham satata yuktanam vajatam priti purvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mam upayanti te. Now, upayanti means he will come to me. By which I will give him the buddhi, the knowledge by which he can come to me. But Srila Sridhar Maharaj went deeper. The acharyas do this. They see how certain words, certain language are being used that have double meanings, triple meanings, and so forth. Especially when the gopis and Krishna are talking. It's all of the Braj communication is like that, different levels. So here, Krishna is telling that anyone who constantly satata yuktana vajatam, that they worship me with priti purvakam, loving devotion, priti, then to them dadami buddhi yogam tam, to them I give the intelligence. Here buddhi yoga is referring to buddhi, intelligence. And then buddhi yogam tam yena mam upayanti te, by which they can come to me, by which they can approach me, upayanti. But here, Srila Sridhar Maharaj, and he actually shared this with our Srila Prabhupada. He told this, that when he was staying with Prabhupada in his house before Prabhupada took sannyas in Calcutta. And here, he said, this word, upayanti, actually it has the meaning upapati. Upayanti, upapati. Within that upayanti, Krishna was hiding the indication of upapati, which means what? Upapati bhav means the parakya rasa, that the gopis have this mood that Krishna is their husband and their apparent husband is not really. So that's called upapati bhav. So here, Srila Sridhar Maharaj shared this with our Prabhupada, saying, yes, I have understood. This is what Krishna is actually saying in the deepest sense. In the deepest sense. And then Prabhupada's comment, after considering what Srila Sridhar Maharaj said.
What else could be said?
He said, there's something like that, yeah. It must be. It must be. This must be the purport. Yeah. Yes. So as far as the Bhagavad Gita usage of the word Braja, I'm just going to find that so that we can understand it and relish it. Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 18, the conclusion, the perfection of renunciation, verse 60. No, that's the always think of me.
Oh, that's 65.
Oh yeah, sorry, yeah, 65. Then comes 66. Sarvdharman parityaja mamekam sharanam vraja. Here, as I told, vraja means go.
Go.
Means go. You should go. You should go. See, because vraja means always moving around. So here he's telling him to go towards what? Mam ekam sharanam, full surrender exclusively to me, Braja. But of course, Braja is hidden in there. These hidden meanings. So, look at that clock. Yeah.
If you want, you can do it.
No, I don't never want that. I never want that, and they also don't want that. And we're going to close it off now. But I want to say, huh?
It says summertime, 7:30 there.
So anyway, it's the final evening of Kartik, and as we told, this is not the end of the Katha at all. In fact, it's going to increase. It's going to increase. So everybody should not think that tomorrow, because we're going to eat tomatoes, that now we go back to our normal life. No.
It's the new normal.
There you go.
Actually, it's the old normal, the oldest normal, the eternal normal. That's what we want. Yes, so Srila Bhakti Pramoda Purī Mahārāja ki jai. He was one of the most exalted personalities. He's still looking down at us from his eternal position of service to the divine couple and blessing us. We should avail ourselves of his books, believe me. You like the books of Srila Sridhar Maharaj, you're going to also love the books of Srila Bhakti Pramoda Purī Maharaj. Each Vaishnavacharya has his own mood, style, personality, everything. But I have personally read his books, and now I realize I have to read them another 4 or 5, 6 more times, each one of them. to really benefit fully from them. So that's our life. If we think that we have so many other things that are more important, then we're not really understanding clearly. Because really, this is what our life is for. Why are we in household life and having children and all of these things? Well, what is the objective? Is it only to enjoy the material enjoyment of these relationships and so forth in this world? Is that the objective? No. That's not the objective. That's the objective of ordinary illusioned conditioned souls, but the objective of the Vaishnava, Grihastas, is to serve Krishna. Serve Krishna. This is always to serve Krishna. That's why it actually doesn't matter which ashram a Vaishnava is in. It depends on if they are exclusively devoted to Krishna and they perform the duties that are relative to their position in Varnashram Dharma. But in actuality, it is meant to please Krishna. That statement in the beginning of the second canto when Shukadev Gosvāmī begins to speak to Maharaj Parikshit. And there he says, Samsiddhi Haritoshanam. Samsiddhi Haritoshanam. Haritoshanam means to please Hari, to please Hari. And what is the perfection of all occupational engagements? Samsiddhi. That means the perfection of all of our engagements in any ashram, in any stage of life, is Haritoshanam. That we have pleased Hari. So, with that, we'll finish this short program this evening. And tomorrow morning, what's the time of breaking the fast? I think there is a time. Yeah, there's definitely a Paran time. Yes. So we will make sure that we observe that.
It's not dated on the calendar.
Ah, okay.
It's not.
Okay. Yeah, I was thinking, but really there's not. It's just that tomorrow, at some point, you got to eat them tomatoes. Or whatever else that we were fasting from. And that will be made very pleasurable and very favorable for our bhakti in the form of the Vaishnavas cooking for Radha Govinda, in the form of many pizza pies. Radha Govinda will enjoy, yes. Gaur Premanandi. Vancha kalpatarubhascha kripa sindhubheva patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha.
I just wanted to express our appreciation for the beacons of interest that we give to us all. And that was one of the things I didn't get a chance to say the other day with thankfulness.
Thank you, Prabhu.
To help keep us inspired.
But because you are all here, that's the only way that I can be inspired to share it,
Well, Kali Yuga presents so many problems for sannyasis to be available to us. And such a small gathering is wonderful.
Well, I pray that I can always have the association of my godbrothers and godsisters and all of the devotees of all the different generations and do some seva for them. So this is the only seva that I can really do. So if I don't get to do this seva, then I don't know. I'm going to have to go somewhere else. Okay. Jai Shri Shri Guru Gauranga Gandharvika Giridhari Shri Shri Radha Govinda Jiva ki Jai Shri Gaur Arati ki Jai Radha Krishna Jugal Arati ki Jai Gaur Premanandi.